Um, Hello, everyone. Um, Good morning and welcome to, or good afternoon and welcome to the Housing and Resident Life presentation on the residential learning communities at Santa Clara University. Before I go ahead and allow us to introduce ourselves, please just as a note, make sure to mute your audio and type your questions in the chat. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is Erika Leiva. I am the Housing Assignments Coordinator here at Santa Clara University.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gail Bandy, and I am the Assistant Director of Billing and Communications in the Housing Office here at Santa Clara University.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Tepper. I'm the Resident Director in the Office of Residence Life for the Alpha Residential Learning Community.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Anthony Bernardo, and I serve as the Area Coordinator, and I work for the Office of Residence Life. I oversee University Villas and Nobley Residence Hall.
Okay, great. So let's go ahead and get started. So here you'll see an overview of what we will be covering today. We'll be going over the residential learning communities, or RLCs, like we call them, the housing accommodations, some of the benefits of living on campus, the housing application for incoming students, and we'll quickly do a little overview of our website just because it has a lot of in-depth information. We'll have time for some Q&A, and then you'll get our contact information in case we didn't get to cover something.
Great. So I'm going to get us started with an overview of our residential learning communities. So research has indicated that the integration of a living and learning community helps support overall success of students through their college experience. So here at Santa Clara, we actually have 9 RLCs, or residential learning communities, that really help students to learn and grow outside of that classroom environment. So each of our RLCs is housed in one of our residence halls across campus. And all students actually begin their Santa Clara experience as a member of one of these RLCs. So if you can, think of this RLC as kind of the course topic or the theme of each of our buildings. And these themes are very broad and not linked to a particular major, but are more of kind of that area of interest to explore for students outside of the classroom. So our RLCs offer a wealth of resources to really support you in your personal life and your studies. And that includes our leadership team, which includes faculty members, some master's levels, professional staff, as well as fellow student peers to help kind of guide you through that experience. During your first year and maybe even your second year, you'll be taking some classes with students that live in your RLC and doing that linked course experience. But hopefully, whichever RLC you're assigned to, we hope that you really find some fun friends and a really supportive community to thrive in during your time in our buildings.
So as Anthony mentioned a little bit, each RLC has 1 to 4 themes, and it's important to note that the theme is not at all connected to your major. Residence hall staff integrate the RLC theme within their programming. And again, as mentioned, faculty integrated in their core curriculum courses. And then each RLC is housed in a residence hall. So this means that every community has an RLC name and a building. So I will go ahead and list in which RLC is in which building. So the Alpha RLC is in Graham Hall. Communitas RLC is in Campisi Hall. Kira is in Finn Hall. Sci-Fi is in Swig. Da Vinci is located in Casa Italiana. And then Loyola is in Sobrato. Modern Perspectives is in Dunn Hall. Unity is in McWash, and then McLaughlin Wash, sorry, I abbreviated. And then Xavier is in San Filippo. So again, as mentioned, typically first years and sophomores live in double or triple rooms that are single gendered, but the floors are co-ed. And then We also have the opportunity for students to stay in their learning community within the 4 years if that's something they wish to do. Juniors and seniors do have the option to live in a single or double fully furnished apartment in the university villas, which those are 2-bedroom or 4-bedroom.
So we know a hallmark of Jesuit education is connecting students with a greater sense of purpose and inspiring agency in our students' abilities to change the world around them. To match this spirit, Residence Life activities use the social change model for leadership development to help our students identify where they can lead as individuals, as members of a local community, and to recognize the interconnectedness of our shared responsibility as members of a global society. We ask students to embrace action and reflection around the following questions. Who am I? Who do I want to be? How am I with others? And where can I be most effective in creating the world I want to live in?
And then to just shift a little bit, we'll go back to the housing accommodations. So we offer 2 types of accommodations in the residence halls. The first type is a traditional style residence halls, which has doubles and triples down a hallway with single gender restrooms. And these traditional halls are Campisi Hall, Swig Hall, Dunn, McLaughlin Walsh, and Swig. And then we also offer suite style accommodation. Finn and Graham halls offer, again, doubles and triples with adjoining bathrooms. Casa Italiana offers 4-bedroom suites with double rooms and 2 sharing bathrooms. And lastly, Sobrato Hall offers 5-bedroom suites, which 4 of them are single, 1 is a double, and then they share 2 bathrooms. And then here's just some of the benefits that living on campus offers. It's, you get to interact with students from similar and different interests. You have a chance to create study groups and find academic support resources and network. You can make friends easily and quickly, and you get a chance to take opportunity of some of the social opportunities that SU has to offer. You also get an increased interaction with faculty and the residential staff, as well as overall, the on-campus living experience leading you to great satisfaction of what SEU is. And lastly, it's a convenient location and it's close to all university resources and services.
Okay, so next we're going to take a quick look at our website. Our website address is scu.edu/living. Our website offers a wealth of information about the on-campus living experience, which is why we want to take a look at it while we're here with you, especially since we are not able to offer any in-person tours of our residence hall for this open house. These are some alternatives that you can use to be able to feel like you have set foot in our residence halls, gotten a 360 video tour, or been able to see a room layout. So this is our main page right here. We do always keep the most important and timely information over on our right-hand side with our buttons. But today we're going to explore the residential living options here. And you can see over here on the right side that we've got some videos that you could look for each of our communities. And we also have room layouts. So just taking a quick look at the room layouts here, it is a bird's eye view of all of the different room types in all of our different communities on campus. So I'll click into one real quick. We'll just go to Graham Hall here. You can see this is a Graham Hall space. It's a double, which is also connected to a triple room. And you can see the bathroom that they're sharing here. I do also want to point out the residence hall video tours because these give you a greater sense of the community and not just the room that you would be living in. So again, we have video available for each of the communities that we have on campus, so you can take some time and review those at your convenience.
So now for our questions portion, we will go ahead and look at our chat and see what questions to answer.
Our chat is quite lively so far. Everyone, I will be moderating our Q&A. So I'll be narrating questions that have come in and passing them around this particular panel of professionals to get you the best possible answer. So the first question that we received, can first-year students get single rooms? In a typical year, single rooms are often only available for sophomore through senior students. However, students with registered and appropriate accommodations through the Office of Accessible Education have received single rooms as part of their accommodations. Great question. Are there specific residence halls for first-year students? Anthony, do you want to take a chance at that one?
Yeah, definitely. So actually, first years can live in any of our residence halls with an RLC, and those are open to anyone. And the accommodations that you just saw are specific to certain buildings. So you may be living in a certain type of room based on which RLC you're living in. However, we value the learning from our peers. So it's important that some sophomores and maybe even juniors and seniors are living in the residence hall with you so that you can engage with them and learn from their wisdom and past experiences. The only kind of caveat is the University Villas and Nobley residence halls. Those are specific for just juniors and seniors. But if you're in an RLC, you can live in any of our communities.
Great, thank you, Anthony. I'm seeing a few questions around RLC assignment. So the next question up, how are RLCs assigned to first-year students? Gail and Erika, do you want to try that one?
Sure, I'd be happy to answer that question. So when students apply for housing, they'll have the opportunity to list their RLC priorities from their 1 and 2, 8. So 8 different RLCs that they can list. Obviously with number 1 being their preferred option, all the way down to number 8. Any student that applies for housing by the May 1st deadline has the same priority as anybody else. So from the application opening in January until May 1st, everyone is in the same pool for RLCs. Then we run a random process that we try our best to get everyone into one of their top 3 RLCs. And we are usually able to do that for about 94% of our incoming first-year students. We'll get one of their top 3 RLCs. We do have some RLCs that are a little bit more popular than others for various reasons. And so sometimes students that are opting to prioritize those RLCs, sometimes we have to go to their 4th or 5th option to assign them.
Great, thank you so much. A follow-up question to that, actually 2 follow-up questions, the same question came in back to back. What are the most popular RLCs? I think each RLC has their own strengths and their own specific areas that are going to draw students to that particular RLC. It may be the theme. You may feel really connected to, like in Alpha, for instance, where I'm the resident director. You may feel really passionate about the theme of innovation, integrity, and impact. Or you might care about more about the housing accommodation, right? The type of room layout that you receive. So each person has their own, each student rather has their own criteria for gauging what is the most popular RLC.
Can I just add something, Zach, real quick?
Sure, go for it.
I would like to add, for those who are looking at what their entire on-campus living experience will look like, you will have priority to return to the community that you live in for your first year. I do mention this because a lot of incoming first-year students really want to live in the Sci-Fi RLC, which is housed in Swig Hall. But a lot of second year students do not want to live in the Sci-Fi RLC housed in Swig Hall. And so I say that so that you know going into this that the community you live in the first year is the community you're going to have priority to return to and be guaranteed to return to for your second year on campus.
Great, thank you for that. That's very helpful and a question we often get toward the beginning of the academic year. Great. Our next question, are residence halls divided based on gender or are they co-ed? Great question. In case you're just now tuning in, we covered this a little bit earlier, but all residence halls are open to students of any gender. The rooms themselves behind the single locked door are single gender, but floors are co-ed. We do have in McLaughlin Walsh, Gail, please correct me if I'm wrong, we have a single gender community or a single gender wing, one for female students or students who identify as female, and another wing for students who identify as male. So if that is of interest or particular need, then McLaughlin Walsh might rise to closer to the top of your priority list. Is housing guaranteed for all 4 years? We live in one of the most competitive real estate markets in the world, so this is a very hot question. Does somebody, maybe Gail or Erika, want to try this?
Sure. So we do have a 2-year residency requirement. So that is important to note that first and second years are required to live on campus. And that's actually starting with this incoming first year class. So the class that we're speaking to right now will be our first residency requirement class. So those 2 years are definitely guaranteed, but your junior and senior year are not guaranteed for on-campus living. We do have junior senior communities. Nobley Hall is a junior senior community and University Villas is a junior senior community. So juniors and seniors have the opportunity to live in those spaces. I will say that we do get a lot of juniors and seniors that apply to live on campus, but it's also the group that we see the highest number of cancellations from, as they are usually looking for on-campus space at the same time they're trying to see if they can find an off-campus space. So if you want to live on campus, we usually do have space for juniors and seniors, but sometimes you might have to wait until some cancellations come in.
Great, and I'm gonna keep Gail live on the mic because our next question about housing guarantee also revolves around our students who might be local to the Bay Area. So what is the process for getting waivers to live at home?
That is a great question. So although we do have a residency requirement that does require students to live on campus for their first and second year, there is an exception process. We don't have it highlighted on our website right now, but it will be back up once the first year application opens in January. And there's certain criteria a student needs to meet. One of those criteria that a student needs to meet in order to waive their on-campus residency requirement is living within close proximity to campus. So I believe it's 20 miles, within 20 miles of campus. It might even be 30 miles. Erika would know best of that because she processes all of these requests. And then there's some other criteria that students can meet as well. It's not just location, it could be medical. Any of our students who are married, we're not going to require them to live on campus. So there are multiple criteria, financial situations that students can apply to be released from the residency requirement.
Great, thank you so much, Gail. All right, I think the question on everyone's mind, roommates. So let's talk living with other people. How are roommates assigned? This is a very important question. So when you complete or when you fill out your housing application for on-campus housing, you will also complete a survey that we will then use to try to match you with someone who has similar interests or similar ideas or sleeping patterns, for example. So we take all of this information in, we do our best to make like some platonic matchmaking happen, so that roommates can get along pretty easily, either in like a shared interest, or at least on a similar sleeping schedule, or similar ideas of what noise in the room should look like. Now, I have seen questions. If you want to request a roommate, is that possible? Gail?
Oh, I can jump on that.
Oh, Etika, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, so students are able to request roommates if they'd like, and they do have that option on their application. It's best if students do it while they're filling it up, but if you meet someone after you filled out the application, you are able to send us an email. Just give us your student ID and make sure you give us the student ID of the person you would like to request as a roommate. And if it's 2 people, 3 people, all of you need to email us so that we know that there's an agreement that you all want to room together. So yeah, you are able to request.
I will add just a little note from a few years of experience at Santa Clara University and some research from our years in these processes does show that our algorithm to match students actually works better than students matching themselves. We think this might be because students have certain expectations going into a living space with people they know, but they may not have had those conversations about what it looks like to live together. So if you are going to request somebody that you know or someone that you've met, it is really important that you have some of those conversations with them before making your roommate relationship official. And even on our housing website, you can see the questions on within the housing application that we ask our students to help pair them. So even just asking those questions to the person you're requesting can help set up a more successful roommate relationship for you for the year.
Great. Thank you, Etika and Gail. All right. A few questions have come in around furniture, or what is provided in the space, or what students are allowed to bring. And the question specifically was asked, can students bring their own mattress? We do expect and require, actually, that all furniture that comes in the residence hall room stays in the residence hall room. But if you have a particular need for maybe a more supportive mattress, we use bed frames that are twin XL. So you can bring a mattress that can fit on top of the mattress that you have. So nothing can leave the residence hall room. You can bring more as long as it adheres to California Fire Code and maintains a degree of flame resistance. Great question. This is a nice question. Do RLCs ever participate in community service opportunities which are open to its residents? Yeah, that's something that we love at Santa Clara, being a Jesuit Catholic institution. Service, both for our community and for the community at large, beyond the walls of Santa Clara, is really important to us. Some of our RLCs are actually coordinated around the entire concept of service. So I'm thinking specifically about Communitas RLC, whose theme is local action with compassion, which asks students to, its RLC students rather, its residents, to engage in community service as a social justice action. So that's very lively in the Communitas RLC. And I will say it's pretty apparent both in the residence halls and in the RLCs, and also across campus. So if you are service oriented, or if you are thinking of getting involved, the Santa Clara Community Action Program through the Center for Student Involvement is actually the home of our student volunteering organizations. So that could be something to also look into. Great question. Leaders of tomorrow asking the questions today. I love it. Okay, something else that's hot on the mind. What on earth does it cost? And does it vary by RLC? So this question is asking the specific cost for living on campus. And I will tell you, like everything, it varies. But Gail is showing you where to find this information. You can find our room and board rates for this past year and also this current year. You'll see that in each residence hall and in each RLC, the cost changes based on your the meal plan that you select. So you can have a preferred dining plan, which I think that's our top tier. That's our quintessential, like you're gonna be fed well dining plan. Or you can opt for a basic dining plan, which will still get all of your meals covered, but with a little bit less to spare at the end of the quarter. So this is a great resource. You may want to navigate to this website. Again, it's scu.edu/living. And that will, you might just want to bookmark it.
And our 21-22 rates will be posted in February after the Board of Trustees votes on what those rates will be. Due to COVID-19 and housing being a little bit different, very different on campus this year, if you look at our current rates, we only have 2 rates, and that's because we're only providing emergency housing right now to a very small population of students. So you can see what our rates are right now, but it's not indicative of a more normal year, which is what we hope to have for our 21-22 year. So I have left the 19-20 room and board rates up here just as an example of the different room types we have, the different meal plans we offer, and what's more reflective on a normal year for us at Santa Clara University.
We love historical comparative data. Thank you, Gail. All right, a question that is also getting asked quite frequently, cars. You're all motorheads. We need our vehicles on campus. So a question that's been asked, is parking available for first-year students? Generally not, but students with a particular need can request an exception from parking and transportation services. So that's something that can be requested. However, parking for anyone isn't guaranteed. Parking is listed on a first come, first served basis. And there are only a limited number of parking permits that parking and transportation will distribute each academic quarter. You can request a permit for a quarter or for the entire year. Great question. What else? Do transfer students need to live on campus? Gail, Erika, Anthony?
They're not required to live on campus, but transfer students can apply to live on campus. So any incoming first years have to get their application in by May 1st to have priority consideration for housing. Transfer students have until June 18th to complete their housing application to be able to live on campus. It is important to note that transfer students are the last students that are assigned on campus. We have, over the last few years, been able to assign all transfer students that want housing on campus, but it might not be your first choice of housing that you get on campus. So just want to be really clear and upfront about that.
Great. All right, we have a question about student athletes. How are student athletes assigned to a particular RLC or residence hall?
The same way as any other incoming first year student. So athletes do not have priority in our housing process. All students have the same priority that fill out the application by May 1st.
Speaking of priority, there's a question. If you get your housing application in earlier, does that affect your choice of residence hall or RLC? Do you get top priority for your choices?
No, so any application, you could fill out your application the day the application opens, or you could fill it out at 11:45 p.m. on May 1st, and everyone that filled out their application from the start to the end has the same priority. Now, those students who filled out their application after May 1st at 11:59 p.m., they will be placed after all of the students that were had completed applications by May 1st at the deadline.
Awesome. Okay, we've talked about like all of the things like getting you here. Now let's talk about what it's like to actually be here. So are the dining halls open to all students, even if they live off campus? Yes. We have one main dining facility, and that is housed in our Benson Memorial Center. That is open actually pretty late during a traditional academic year, and serves anyone who comes onto campus. You can pay with cash, card, or your access card, which maintains your student dining plan. New last year was the idea of being able to pay for your meals and open your door on your residence hall with your phone. Super cool. We call it a mobile credential. And so you can use that to pay and actually have a contactless method of picking up your food and getting into your building and your community. We have other eateries on campus, but those are more cafes and more for like grab and go. But we really only have one main dining facility that is a traditional sit down eatery. Great.
And I'd like to add our little market that's downstairs of Benson that does have a more like a little grocery store kind of feel. Not a lot of options, but it does have variety.
Yes, the cellar market is a hot commodity on campus. Everyone loves it. Okay, our next, it looks like we might have a follow-up. Do we have an anticipated price range for what a standard or average meal might be? It's been a while since I've eaten in the dining facility.
So I will say a standard or average meal is very hard because our students' diets vary very largely. So everything in our dining facility is a la carte. And it is basically all students get all their meal plans loaded at the beginning of the quarter, and it's kind of a debit system from there. So you pay for what you eat and you have a declining balance. All of our registers and there's signs within all of our venues that show you kind of where you should be each week for your dining points. And now I forgot the original question because I just went on a tangent. Sorry about that, y'all.
That's okay.
Remind me.
Let me follow up with that. Price range for an average meal. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So we do have dining specials. So some of the dinner specials will be a little bit pricier. They'll be about $15 a meal, but that's something like getting filet mignon from our dining hall. That's not going to the salad bar and grabbing a salad and soup. So it really does depend on what you eat as a student and how often you eat. So we have students that come in and grab, you know, a $5 latte every morning with a banana, and they just spent, you know, $6 on breakfast. And then we have students that get 2 eggs for breakfast and a bagel, and that might be a little bit cheaper. But again, we do have the charts that we call them pace yourself charts within the venues for dining so that students can make sure they have enough money. And then we also have Dining Plus, and Dining Plus is just an option to add more dining points to your plan if you run out. And they operate the same as the residential dining plan. And the benefit of Dining Plus and residential dining plan is that you eat tax-free in our dining facilities. We do recommend for all first-year students to start with the basic plan. You start with the basic plan, and that's because if you run out of points, you can always add more. But if you get the preferred plan and you don't use your points, only 100 points roll over from quarter to quarter, and they do not roll over from year to year. So again, I don't have an average price. Our students eat vastly differently. You can look at some of the pricing on Bon Appetit's website in our dining section and the auxiliary services website, and they do have the pricing on the menu on their website if you want to kind of get a better idea for what you would look to eat from the menus that they're posting right now.
Great, thank you. And I will say that steak special, it goes quick. It's a hot commodity when it rolls out. Some other questions about meals and dining. Can you buy meals with cash instead of dining points? Yes, absolutely. They accept most forms of legal tender, cash, card, and your dining points. I don't think anyone would carry checks, but I don't think they accept checks. Are there food allergy and special diet support in the various dining options? Yes. So if every Every menu item that a student purchases will have a specific key next to it, or a legend. So you can identify easily if a particular dish is vegan, vegetarian, contains dairy, contains tree nuts, all of that. And if you have a very particular set of needs, your dietary habits or needs, you can work with Bon Appetit, which manages our on-campus dining experience, to register and just make sure that your specific needs are being met and addressed. And Bon Appetit is very open to feedback, as I've seen. So in the past few years, more and more options for gluten-free baked goods. We have a bakery on campus in Nobley Hall. And so all of our baked goods are like prepared fresh on campus. It's quite lovely, but for an example, more gluten-free options are becoming available. The main dining hall is Benson Memorial Center, and within the main dining hall, within Benson, there are multiple food stations. So another question is like variety. We have different cuisines that are offered each day. We have specific like pasta section. We have like Central American, South American food as well. There's sometimes like East Asian cuisine, and of course burgers, and we have pretty like beloved sandwich bar as well. So all good things. Do you ever have campus-wide barbecues or themed days? Yes, actually, just last year, we welcomed and inaugurated, I think that's a word, our newest president of the university, and it also coincided with his birthday, and there was a campus-wide bash for President Father O'Brien, and so that was a space where we had barbecues, grills. There were kind of lawn activities, just things going on outside. So that was very nice. Other than, wow, a lot of questions about food. I love this. Y'all are like calling at my heart. Other than the dining hall, what other restaurant or takeout places on campus accept the dining plan points? So on campus, there's Sunstream Cafe, which is in the Learning Commons. You can use your meal points there. There's Mission Bakery, which is also in Benson. Erika mentioned the Cellar, which is a mini mart where you can use your dining points. And also the adjacent shopping centers around campus, kind of on the border of campus. And we have a wide variety of businesses, of restaurants that accept dining points and accept Flex specifically. Flex is money that you can add to your student account to help you pay for laundry, all with your access card, and to experience off-campus dining as well. Is there a set curfew for on-campus residents? Oh, goodness. No, you are adults and we want to treat you as such. So the only restriction in terms of like timing and curfew would be when you're allowed to enter certain doors of your residence hall. So as a security measure, all of our doors except for the main lobby entrance lock to external access after 7 p.m. That is to ensure that you must pass by our security front desks that serve a security function so that they are, you are seen when you walk in the building. So after 7 p.m., you just have to redirect your foot traffic through the main lobby of each building. I'm seeing a lot of questions about COVID-19 and specifically just one question, COVID-19. We've been a bit hesitant to approach these questions simply because so much is still unknown. So maybe instead of answering what next year will look like or could look like, the four of us could share what this year presently looks like. That might be helpful with setting some context. Anthony, Erika, any of you want to like chime in on what this academic year has looked like so far?
I can just share a little bit, and then if anyone wants to jump in. You know, as Gail mentioned earlier, because everything is so unknown and we were trying to navigate and see what it was going to look like, we did offer housing on an emergency basis. And so right now in the rest halls, we have to limit the amount of number of students within each suite or each room, just to really follow the guidelines from county and health officials in the area. To be honest, there isn't a lot of socializing right now, again, because people are keeping their distance. But I get to walk, I live on campus, I get to walk the area. I see students sitting sometimes in the benches outside with their masks on. So it's a little restricted and we're still learning. But yeah, that's kind of like what I can share from what I've noticed and how we've worked with it.
We also don't have any, I do want to kind of just put this out there, even though we are only housing a much smaller number of students, we don't have any positive cases on campus. And so that I think is a real big win. But we are testing our students. So our students had to arrive at a certain time. They had to get a test that the university paid for. And then they also had to get another test a few days later that the university also covered the cost for. In order to make sure that our environments are staying very safe and really reducing the occupancy on campus, and right now giving every student their own bathroom to utilize. So it's different, it's new, but we are learning from it and exploring what options will be like when we open next fall.
Great. Hopefully that cleared up and provided some context for how we are understanding student housing in the age of a global pandemic. We have a follow-up question on parking. Really just want to redirect. We are not parking and transportation services. So questions about that would be best situated for parking and transportation services. The question was around how much is the parking pass for the year? Do you pay day by day? So redirect that question.
I'll put their email address in the chat right now. So it's transportation@scu.edu. So if y'all have any kind of specific parking questions, you can just email transportation@scu.edu and they can answer all of your parking questions.
Excellent. We've got about 1 more minute left, so I'm just following up on the last few questions in the chat. Do all RLCs have available laundry rooms? Yes. On average, how many students live in any single residence hall? It varies. Some of our communities house up to anywhere from 180 students, and then we have residence halls that house 450 students. So it depends on the community and the specific residence hall. Are there public use kitchens provided for students in residence halls? In a normal year, yes. Actually, let me rephrase that. Yes, there are kitchens. In a normal year, those kitchens are open for use. In COVID-19 times, when we were trying to limit the number of common surfaces that students touch, those kitchens are not accessible. So still up in the air on what that will look like the following year. And then final question was, is there inter-community visitation? Can you get to like hang out with friends who live in another community? Yes, and we want you to do so. If you live in one community and you visit someone else, you must be escorted by that person. So that you are considered a visitor of that space, a guest, and same for people visiting you. You must escort your guest and visitor around whenever they're visiting you. That's, I think, all we had time for. Thank you for all of these great questions. And please know the questions that we did not get a chance to answer today. Housing will have a frequently asked questions page on our scu.edu/living website. So please take a look at that. Any final thoughts or words from the rest of our panel?
If we didn't get to your question, email us. If the answer is not on the FAQ page, our email is housing@scu.edu. We won't be checking it today, but we will start checking it at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So throw your questions in there if we didn't get to them, because I do know there were a lot of questions asked, all great questions that need answers.
Excellent.
All right.
Well, thanks
you so much, everyone.
We're trying to close it out. Go forth and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, wherever you may be. And we hope to see you soon.
Bye, everyone.